There's been lots of information in recent years coming out about trusted notifier relationships and the topic of today's conversation, and it's sort of been an ever-evolving conversation. But there's three key pieces of work I wanted to touch on and then briefly highlight some work that PIR has done in this space as well. First is the framework to address abuse that Pavel previously touched on. Second is the contracted parties house trusted notifier framework. And third is the Internet and Jurisdiction Policy Network recently put out a trusted notifier typology and framework components document. So first, the framework to address abuse is a document that was published in October 2019 with initially 11 signatories, and now there's more than 50 participating registries and registrars. It includes both GTLDs, generic TLDs like .org, as well as several country code top-level domains. And really, the framework has two parts. One, it states that registries and registrars must take action on technical or DNS abuses like phishing, farming, malware, botnets. But it also has a component for website content abuses that the scale of harm is so egregious that it may be appropriate for a registry or a registrar to take action. And these are things like child sexual abuse materials and CSAM. But it recognizes that registries and registrars aren't experts in particular these forms of website content abuses. So it points to the use of trusted notifiers and states that while it's ultimately the responsibility of registries and registrars to take action on forms of abuse, trusted notifiers can be a crucial resource to enhance abuse monitoring for registries and registrars, particularly when it comes to those forms of egregious content abuses.
When we work with DotAsia, become a partnership. That's a cyber norm because there's no existing law enforce us to work together. And if there are more participants want to join together, it's a cyber norm because we voluntarily commit our behavior to fulfill cyber expectation. So here is the some of the message we deliver to the community. TWNIC and DotAsia collaborate together against the DNS abuse. And here is the trust notifier model and also fast track mechanism. When the complainer submit a complaint to trust notifier and the trust notifier goes through the due diligence process, then notify the internet intermediary, and the internet intermediary can, based on their contract or registry agreement or registrar agreement, and activate fast track mechanism and follow the procedure. So the value to intermediary will be the cost reduction because the better evidence, the trust notifier collect all the required evidence from legal perspective, from technical perspective. And also it's cost reduction because transfer evaluation cost to trust notifier. And eventually that will be a company value because your domain space become much clean, and you earn the consumer trust due to you proactive, willing to looking for better behavior in the cyberspace. The value to trust notifier will be efficiency, of course, it's much faster. In addition, compared to go through mutual legal assistance treaty, it's much faster. And also effectiveness, because less enforceable, and because based on the certain cyber scenario, for example, like a phishing, would be very efficient.
We finally found an area for closer collaboration, and especially when we were talking about the hot topics around the industry, which is DNS abuse being one of them. Kenny mentioned some of the statistics that he mentioned as in terms of being able to address DNS abuse as a registry in Taiwan. And I think that's where the brainchild came from, and that's where Kenny comes in. So he is really the brainchild behind the idea. So I'll let Kenny talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, right. Thank you, Eamon. And basically, I believe all the registry operators, they have experienced more or less very similar situation, because when they experience the cybercrime or cyber abuse, and basically we need to find a way to solve the issue. Probably not by ourselves, probably it's more appropriate by law enforcement agent. But unfortunately, a lot of cybercrime is related to the domain name. It's not so many, but still some. But when we experience that kind of situation, and we don't have proper tool to handle that, as I mentioned, the existing tool either goes through MLAT or goes through Budapest Convention or goes through legal cooperation, but all that kind of solution is not very effective. Not to mention, not all the countries have been signing MLAT with each other. So as I discussed with Eamon, probably we need to identify some neutral way, and because of the same registry, we share the same level of sensibility as Edmund mentioned, because we are very pay attention to our registrant, and especially we don't easily take down any domain without any due diligence process. So, and with this regard, if any cybersecurity company, they ask us to take down the domain, we are actually create a lot of issue because they don't have any kind of sensibility regarding to proportionality consideration, proportionality principle. They don't have that kind of concept. So working with the registry, that makes sense because we share the same level of sensibility. We have similar experience, and we also address a similar issue. Although the coverage between two TLD is not fun, it's certainly is not good enough, but we hope that will be a kickoff start, and hopefully most of the registry or registrar or the other potential partner willing to join the group and find probably will be a more innovation way to against the DNS abuse in the future.